Welcome everybody, Josh here, back at it again today with a brand new YouTube video. Today we're going to be talking about the Ultrasabers Graflex SC. This is the Ultrasabers Graflex SC from Ultrasabers. They are based out of Friendswood, Texas, and they actually sent this to me fairly recently. I ordered this way back in May, so yes, it did take a little bit of time to get here, but unfortunately these are trying times that everybody's pretty much facing, myself included. Normally you guys like to see the green screen in the background. I'm actually in the middle of a move, so unfortunately I am not able to provide that with you guys. But I did want to provide you guys with a video. I'm actually wearing my Angel Jackets Han Solo Star Wars story jacket. So if these videos do well in the future, I might actually end up doing more videos where I sort of unbox sort of this stuff on my channel and maybe actually give you guys some more reviews in the meantime while you guys wait for me to get my setup. It's a little bit unfortunate just because I kind of like to have sort of my editing software and all that stuff set to go and ready. Don't know how the camera is going to work because I did drop the iPad at some point when I was trying to put in sort of my case that I have here. You guys know that from when I unboxed sort of the thing and did sort of a review of it. But either case, I wanted to review this saber just because this saber means a very lot to me. This is actually the one that is based off of Luke's from A New Hope. This is also the one that is in Empire Strikes Back, and it's even in Return of the Jedi a little bit. This is the one that Anakin Skywalker gave to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi pretty much gave to Anakin Skywalker, or Obi-Wan Kenobi gave to Luke Skywalker. Sorry, I can't really cut through this. It's pretty much how I'm speaking at the moment, so if you guys don't see any cuts, I'm sorry, I can't really do anything about that. I might put this into iMovie, so you might see a little bit of stuff here and there. But this is a really special lightsaber, and this is the reason why I wanted to buy this, mostly because of the fact that I wanted to get a lightsaber from Ultrasabers with sound, and I want to get one that was a little bit budget friendly because I am interested in cosplay. I'm interested in actually getting sort of cosplay items, so that way maybe I can go to conventions and stuff and actually use this lightsaber while I'm at the conventions. That's definitely something that I was looking forward to when I was purchasing this lightsaber. Now, one of the things that I like about this lightsaber is this is a very accurate representation of the movie one. This pretty much represents Joseph Campbell, the hero's journey. This is sort of the Skywalker that has spanned, or this is sort of the lightsaber that has spanned, several different decades and different generations in terms of the Skywalker saga. You've got the prequel trilogy, which I'm a huge fan of. I actually, saw the prequel trilogy in theaters and watched the sequel trilogy. I pretty much grew up on sort of the original trilogy in sort of the VHS format. I didn't actually get the chance to see them because I wasn't born then. And then I sort of got, the prequel trilogy I saw in theaters with my dad, and then I saw, sort of the sequel trilogy by myself. And this was always a lightsaber that caught my attention. This was one of those lightsabers that, I looked at that I kind of wanted ever since I was a kid. And to actually finally have something that kind of represents that hilt is awesome. This is made out of aluminum and actual metal, so this will not break. This is not like one of those crappy toy ones that you can get in the store. This is something that is a lot of money, and I actually paid around $290 with this. I wanted something that didn't break the bank in terms of being uber expensive. I did want something that had sound, which is why you see sort of the vented pommel. Sometimes they like to send the ones with the vented pommels anyway, just because of the fact that this is a relatively sought after lightsaber, and sometimes people want to send it back and actually get sort of, the different sort of sound fonts and stuff like that put into them. Interesting fact enough is that none of the lightsabers in the films actually ever had sound cards into them. They were pretty much just like the basic stunt sabers. So if you're looking at sort of a budgetary option that's not going to break the bank, that's going to look good in the background of your videos, that's going to look good on a shelf, that's going to look good in sort of cosplays at conventions and stuff like that, really the stunt sabers are the way to go. I don't really know how many people are actually going to want sort of the sound saber. I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you clicked on it because you want to know if this is a good lightsaber to get. And with $290 on the line, I actually have to say that this is a fantastic looking hilt. I did not have any problems with this. A couple of the things that I did actually customize on this hilt was the front button, which you see here. Sorry, I kind of stumbled on my words because I did have a beer not too long ago. And then the back button. Now the back button I did in chrome or silver, mostly because of the fact that I wanted something that was going to be flush with the bunny ears. The bunny ears are the classic feature of the Graflex. The Graflex itself was pretty much ripped off a camera piece, and the Star Wars saga has pretty much been sort of a low budget sort of Star Wars science fiction fantasy franchise that quickly became something even more important as time went on. I did get this in Guardian Blue, which is awesome. I figured that this was going to be a prequel trilogy style hilt just because of the fact that You know, the prequel trilogy is something that I am fairly familiar with. This is something that I collected all the lightsabers from. This is something that I kind of grew up with. So, you know, the Star Wars franchise has been with me for a very, very long time. And one of the things that I really like about this is that the activation box and the activation switch is actually standard on these hilts. Once you buy the Ultrasabers lightsaber, you get the activation stuff pretty much standard with the hilt itself. You know, with these stunt sabers that, you know, you can buy that are really cheap, you don't really have that option. You pretty much have to add that extra along with everything else. In terms of buying your saber, it's really annoying that you have to buy that separately, but I kind of understand why Ultrasabers did that. And personally speaking, I always get the activation switch instead of the guarded switch, mostly because of the fact that I like it just because it feels a little bit more Star Wars-y than sort of, you know, your average sort of activation switch that, you know, you don't get the choice of. You know, you pretty much get the guarded switch or the activation switch. The guarded switch kind of looks a little bit more like a flashlight, and that's something I definitely do not want, especially with a lightsaber. I did not go with the Flash on Clash, as it's called, just because of the fact that, you know, I wasn't actually paying for this myself. I actually had somebody else help me out with this. And, you know, I personally didn't want to break the budget. I didn't want to break the bank on that. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I didn't go with the illuminated AV switch, which I could have done. And as Obi-Wan Kenobi says in the Star Wars franchise, this is pretty much an elegant weapon for a more civilized time. So that's kind of the reason why I like this. One of the things I like about this hilt compared to some of my other Ultrasabers hilts that I ordered is the fact that I can actually grip this thing. I have pretty gigantic hands, which is pretty cool because I can actually grip this either as a one-handed blade or a two-handed blade. In the Star Wars movies, they actually tend to grip it with sort of a two-handed grip. Sometimes even in the sequel trilogy, you get sort of the one-handed grip. The reason why I did not go with sort of the Arctic Blue here with the blade is because of the fact that, you know, I am a huge prequel fan, like I told you. You know, the prequel trilogy was something that I am really fond of. I really like the prequel films, and I like them even more now after seeing sort of the sequel trilogy films than I had in the past. You know, the sequel trilogy films are not as great in my personal opinion. I like, you know, The Force Awakens, but that's pretty much it, and Rogue One, and maybe sometimes a little bit Solo, but that's only because of the fact that, you know, Ron Howard pretty much was brought in at the last second. I don't really blame Ron Howard for that. You know, I pretty much blame Kathleen Kennedy for everything just because of the fact she is the one that hired him after firing Lord and Miller. So, you know, kind of got a movie that was kind of rushed at the last second. I think if Kathleen Kennedy had hired Ron Howard from the start, we probably would have had gotten a little bit better of a Star Wars franchise than what we got with Disney and Lucasfilm in the sequel trilogy. At this point, they're pretty much just only Lucasfilm in name. In my personal opinion, even though I do like The Mandalorian, I think that The Mandalorian is definitely the right step, and it's definitely something that could bring a lot of Star Wars fans back. And that's one of the things that I really do like about that show. And one of the things I'm really enjoying about this second season right now is just the fact that it keeps on getting better and better, in my personal opinion. Yeah, there's some hiccups here and there, and sometimes it feels a little bit slow in places, but I mean, you get what you get. It's a Star Wars TV show, so obviously sometimes there's going to be a little bit of filler. But in any case, as you guys know, George Lucas is one of my favorite directors. You know, he pretty much was influenced by samurai films with Akira Kurosawa, and also The Hero's Journey with Joseph Campbell, which basically was the foundation for the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, and they kind of went away with that with the sequel trilogy. So one of the things that I really do enjoy about this hilt is that it kind of encapsulates all of that. I actually did end up in the hospital a little while ago, so I don't know if I'm going to be talking about that now or in sort of a different video. Maybe in sort of a few months from now or something like that, I might address it. It's a very personal matter, so I only really like when my family or friends kind of have that information, and I pretty much just like giving you guys sort of these product reviews because I don't want you guys to be bothered down by anything going on in my personal life. But in any case, you know, other than that, you get sort of the cover tech wheel is also standard with these movie style hilts. Once you buy the movie standard or style hilts, you get the activation box or the activation switch standard. You get sort of the cover tech, which I already have a cover tech belt clip. So if I want to get a second one, which I might actually do since I have a Darth Vader Chosen One hilt coming within, you know, 12 to 14 weeks, depending on when they're able to ship it out to me. I kind of understand with the circumstance that we're all kind of in, that it might kind of take a while for me to get my hilt. But I'm willing to wait just because I really do like this hilt so much, and this has quickly become sort of my favorite aside from my Archon, which I already have done a review for, or even sort of my Savior, which is based off Darth Revan's hilt. But with any further ado, let's show you guys kind of what you get sort of in terms of the basic sounds. When I hit the activation switch right here, I just hold it, and This thing looks badass on camera. Sometimes it looks a little bit purple in area, but in camera, when you're taking photos, this is kind of the blue that you will most likely see in terms of your lightsaber. In terms of the actual blade itself, it kind of looks like this in real life. You know, it's a little bit more of a darker blue, but you know, on camera this thing looks amazing. I'm sure that, you know, this isn't doing it full justice, especially with the Graflex SC. I think if you get the nickel-plated one, you're going to have just as much fun, if not more so. I don't remember which blade I got, but I think I got the longest one that they have there, just because of the fact that, you know, all my other lightsabers are currently at my new place, and I actually don't have any of that stuff with me, so I can't really undo the blade plug here, or remove the blade and put the blade plug in, so I can show you guys what it looks like on the belt. Unfortunately, if I had my setup, I could do that. But just listen to the sound effects alone. Like, this thing is just badass. Like, I think if you actually took this out in public, you would get a lot of comments, especially if you're wearing this on a belt, especially with the belt clip. I think a lot of people would stop you and ask kind of what this lightsaber is. Is this, you know, Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber? Is this Rey Skywalker's hilt? Is this, you know, any of the characters from the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, or even the sequel trilogy? And you can actually say it's from all three of them. This is one of those instances where, you know, depending on which character you like the most, you can tell them either it's all three, or if it's just a specific character that you like, you can do that. One of the things I really like about this, besides sort of the other hilts that I have, is this actually pulsates. Like, this flickers, and it gives you sort of that flickering effect that you see in the original trilogy, as well as the sequel trilogy and prequel trilogy of Star Wars films. It's awesome. It's one of those things that I didn't really notice at first when I was using my stunt sabers, which I still think, for the budget, for the fact that you save a lot of money for not getting sort of the ones that are $290, you still get a lot of bang for your buck even with those stunt sabers. And actually, those are a little bit more accurate, just because none of the, you know, sequel trilogy hilts, the prequel trilogy hilts, or even the original trilogy hilts for that matter, actually had sound cards built into them. Those were pretty much done using sound effects, and sort of the blade effects are actually done using post-production, such as like Avid and stuff, or like not just Avid, but also After Effects and things like that of that nature, which I actually learned in college. But this thing is just awesome. Like, even just this video alone, like, once you feel this for yourself, once you have this blade in your hands, like, you can actually do some serious damage with this thing. And I was a little bit worried about how this would feel in the hands, just because so many of these videos that I saw online talked about, you know, how some of these lightsabers are so huge and they're a little bit uncomfortable. I actually don't think that they're that uncomfortable myself, just because of the fact that, you know, as someone with big hands myself, I actually need sort of the extra grip, so that way I can actually grip these lightsabers. I think if they were smaller in grip, I probably would not be able to wield this thing as easily as I'm doing in this video. But that's the Ultrasabers Graflex SC. I am really proud that I actually finally have one of these in my hands. When I went to go buy these previously, they were always out of stock. I was always looking for the stunt saber, just because that was what I was kind of used to and accustomed to. I didn't know sort of what the difference was between the basic sound saber, which is what I got here, or sort of the stunt variants, which I've been collecting previously on my channel and have done reviews for you guys on those. So let me know in the comments section down below if you guys plan on actually buying this lightsaber. If you actually plan on getting one Flash on Clash. I actually didn't get the Flash on Clash because, like I said before, I wasn't paid for it. This wasn't sort of the money that I was spending with it. So I didn't want to do anything too sort of, you know, out there, too flashy. You know, I think, like I said before, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi is like, this was an elegant weapon for a more civilized age. And I think that statement is more evident in terms of the Ultrasabers Graflex SC itself. This thing is boss. So I have been having a lot of fun swinging this thing around. I think I've swung this thing around recently more so than some of my other lightsabers. You know, I have swung my Archon a lot. I've swung sort of the Savior a lot. Those are the couple that I go through the most. If I go for another one, it's usually the Prophecy. I don't usually use my Dark Apprentice that much, which I got, but I still like that saber for what it is. You know, it doesn't really look movie accurate. It's not really a movie hilt, but, you know, it's not really designed to be. It's designed to be a budgetary saber at a budgetary price. But just let you guys hear a little bit more of that sound real quick before I actually turn this bad boy off. So yeah, you get kind of the movie sound effects going on some of the sabers that you can get with the sound fonts. You can actually change it so you can add, you know, audio from like the movies and stuff like that. You can add like Super Mario font. You can do a whole bunch of crazy stuff like that. But you actually have to pay extra. Like if you go for the Emerald or Diamond controllers, you can actually change the blade on some of them as well. But like I said before, you're paying extra for that privilege, which, you know, I just want a budgetary saber. I want something that's simple, that's not going to break the bank, that still makes sound. And this was definitely one of those things where I was willing to spend it because it's an iconic hilt. It's like I can't have a Skywalker saber and not have it make sound. Like, it just wasn't going to happen. Even if I wanted the stunt saber variant later on, I can always get that. But I just think for the price that I get with this thing, with the price that I get with these sound fonts on this hilt, the fact that I can put it on a belt clip, the fact that I can take it to conventions such as cosplay at Galaxy's Edge, or go to, you know, San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con if I eventually, you know, choose to go that route, or even GalaxyCon here in Minnesota, or even sort of the other cons that are here in Minnesota, I could definitely do that and look pretty cool with it. So overall, I have to say that hats off to Ultrasabers for shipping to me this thing, you know, as quickly as it could. I know that with everything going on, things are a little bit hectic and not everybody's happy with it, but I'm definitely pleased and definitely a pleased customer with this lightsaber. So, you know, I might consider buying more lightsabers from Ultrasabers in the future. I'm looking into Crimson Dawn right now just because it's another lightsaber company I haven't bought from before. I'm also looking at Saber Forge and Vader's Vault, which I mentioned before on the channel. But I'm definitely going to be buying some more Ultrasabers, even if I do review other saber companies in the future. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this lightsaber, if you're going to actually be picking up one of these, you know, Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, Rey Skywalker lightsaber hilts, the Graflex SE or the Collector's Edition from Ultrasabers. Let me know what you think of my saber, just with the different customization options I did. And as always, guys, if you learn a thing or two about the movie industry, please rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.